to a live town hall from cNFTcon. Can we get a maybe audio check from the audience? Is the audio clear?
Audio check number 2. So are both mics working?
Doing a bit of a tech.
I turned my microphone off, yeah, but is it working?
Should we keep them on?
We can keep them on.
That's it off.
Hello.
They said they can hear everybody.
Can they hear? Are we good?
Yeah.
That's good. Do you have an audience? We have a live audience. So, without further ado, this is a town hall number. Do you have a number?
13, 14,
Is it number 13? I'm not sure. Well, we're gonna add that into the description later on. So welcome to the live town hall from cNFTcon 2022 Las Vegas. We are blessed by the presence of Zach, ZMC, our co-founder who does not appear. We have asked him for a special appearance this time. And also with the usual attendance of Marek and Nick, fence maker, with us here. We're excited to do this town hall from here so we can share part of the vibes that we have here at the event. We have a very vibrant booth. We've sold out of Quinn plushies yesterday. We have a bunch of t-shirts that still might be sold. We can share a little bit more also about our recent public beta and also a few consequential, let's say, decisions and directions we've taken from that. We might just jump straight into that. With regards to the public beta that was released on Friday for the stables release, it's been, and we understand and acknowledge and deeply apologize for the rocky start for that public beta. It remains to have issues, as obviously we have been completely engaged during the convention here at Las Vegas, as well as our partners who have been either off for the weekend or with us here at Las Vegas. So that has made it very challenging to address any technical issues which existed with this release. And we understand that the issues with connecting wallets, for example, have plagued this release since it was done on Friday and has not really improved, as it hasn't been possible to address. Now, at the same time, we also have looked into what has landed this release in this position. Basically, this release was a deadline that we had committed to for October 7th. This has also led us to basically go into countless days of midnight to afternoon, let's say, work days, just to get the teams aligned with the different time zones. And that has led us to basically work super hard into getting this release done. Unfortunately, deployment on the live server or the move to the live server did not go as well as in the development server, and put us in a position where we're kind of stuck with a release that does not work very well. Now, onto the key learnings that we've learned. There's a lot of them. We understand that this is frustrating for anyone who's been excited to test this out, and we apologize for that experience. We have learned that this negative situation was a direct consequence of the deadline that we had set. We have a roadmap that we had announced some deadlines on, and we realized that while we are very careful about meeting that roadmap deadline, that eventually results in excessive pressure. There's been a huge amount of hard work that was put into this, but unfortunately this results into unforeseen challenges taking longer, causing this kind of a challenge. So with this, we realize that this has been basically a source of a lot of the challenges, and at the same time we're put in a situation where we either delay the deadline, and that is not great, or we basically put out something that's a little bit, let's say, rushed, which is also not what we want to do. So it becomes kind of a lose-lose situation. With that in mind, we'd like to share a little bit of a different approach that we believe is the best for the project. these deadlines that we estimate some while in advance seem to be harming progress rather than helping it. We'll continue to build as fast as possible. We'll continue to build to the quality standard that we believe is what the project deserves. We'll continue sharing updates regularly through town halls, through development updates. Now that we have a platform that's live, you will see much more closely what is progressing and what is happening. We'll continue releasing content on what's being done and what's being progressed on. At the same time, we'd like to share that the, let's say, roadmap milestone timings or deadlines that we've announced, we will no longer take them as a hard deadline for releases, as this is harming basically the project's quality control and a lot of the effort into designing it. We'll obviously keep internal deadlines. We'll keep targets for release. We'll keep sharing also prospective or let's say projected expected time frames for releases. However, at the same time, we'd not like to basically hold ourselves against early committed deadlines that are probably unrealistic. We understand that a lot have been excited about end-year release for racing. We do not want to be in the same position where we release something that does not work, especially when it involves transactions that have people's money in them or people's horses in them. We absolutely expect to need to have audits on the smart contracts, so many different parts that need to be quality controlled and checked. I understand that the community has been very, let's say, understanding. We have similar expectations of very high standards. This does not come with these kind of tight deadlines, so we hope that you understand that. We will remain committed to sharing everything with you, and we hope you understand that this is basically for the best interest of the project, and we hope you understand this decision basically and why it was taken. I believe this will further motivate everyone to really work extra hard, deliver. This is in no way a type of relaxation that we're looking for. We're not really trying to slow it out. Obviously, we want it to be done as soon as possible. This is a lot of hard work. At the same time, we believe that we all share the same opinion of wanting this project to be the best. Nobody wants it to look like it's facing a challenge. It was indeed a bad look, and we agree that it's not great that we release a beta, for example, that has as simple of an issue as a wallet connection. So we are treating the root cause directly. So this was a direct message delivered to the team through the town hall. We hope you understand, and we are happy to also hear feedback from our community as after the town hall, and to interact if we have anything through the AMA. So this was a message, and we'll continue the town hall as usual with a kind of an overview of the release, or if anybody wants to add to that.
Well, just to reiterate the same thing and then reiterate the commitment. The point is, I think, and I've seen that through the chat and Discord. I was reading your messages and over the last days since the release, and I think the point is the mistake we made this time was try to just commit to the deadline we set instead of just agreeing that it would need another week to be quality controlled, or another few days or whatever amount of time, and we should, instead of sticking to the deadline, we should have just said, no, it's not going out that way. Let's just make very sure everything is perfect. And so we're not going to make that mistake again, I think, is what we're trying to just get over. Is whatever deadline, we're going to always try to hit the deadline, but if the game is not ready, the game's not coming out. It'll be ready when it comes out, and especially when racing is involved and when breeding is involved, for those two releases where a lot of things will have to do with your horses, will have to do with transactions and smart contracts and stuff on the blockchain. This is extremely important, and none of that is going to go out if quality insurance has not been done, and I'm not like happy with everything. So we're not making that mistake again.
And I will also personally take responsibility for the rushed release. I know the team had been kind of pushing back and saying maybe we should not really rush for this. I was personally very persistent to have this ready before cNFTcon. It was basically we have an announcement at the venue that's covering this.
With an impromptu guest, Charles Hoskins. So if you work your way to the main stage, you can get information on...
No, let's have someone ask the questions later on.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
just
So-
quickly, we've been asking to get announcement over the intercom at cNFTcon, so that's an improvement actually. Sorry
Yeah.
for the end.
So back to the subject. So we had intended to have this out so that we have time for people to test, and then we come back straight to the grind. Unfortunately, that did not work as well as we had hoped. But the lesson is learned. We also realized that there is an interest from the team to participate, or from the community to participate in beta testing. And we appreciate everyone's extending their support. We'll definitely bring this into our basically process where we have more people testing in different scenarios. We will also keep that going, so the beta testers will also have a chance to kind of have a sense of what's being developed as we go forward, and that we can also battle test, let's say, different releases before they go. Now, one of the good things I would say is now we have a deployed product, a DApp that's already live. It's not working right now because of the wallet connection, but it's out there. We have a tripod that's not very stable. Pun intended. That was.
not beta tested.
It was not better tested enough. We apologize. This is a pattern we see here. Is it? Can I trouble someone to maybe hold this throughout? Can it be held? No. Can somebody hold it? Yeah. So this is a. Yeah. So this is basically I believe to us, despite the challenges the technical challenges that the current deployment has, for us we basically have, this is basically our first full deployment of a DApp, and as rocky as it was, we now have a product that we can polish, fix, update, iterate, take forward, keep going with. We're going to have regular basically maintenance and improvement of functions and features and functionality. So for us, that is a big milestone. And now we have something clear. Instead of being some code base that's somewhere in our own repository, it's basically a kind of let's say a live deployment. And then we also have our own dev thing, and we get much more experience in DevOps, how to transition that into our own. Right now the DevOps, for example, are also supported, let's say, by an external party. We'll eventually grow towards our own DevOps handling this, so we can immediately, for example, push fixes and updates. That's another, I believe, also restriction is, even had we had time here during the event at Vegas, the DevOps is currently handled by an external party as we transition. It has not been completely handed over. So we're basically going to also migrate that so that we're much more agile when we need a fix or when there is any downtime, for example. So that's something we're going to basically build towards. So this is kind of an overview of the feedback we've had so far from the beta. It is, let's say, a bit of a directional change, but we also are thankful for everybody's trust in our progress, and I believe the town halls continuing, the community events continuing. We're not going anywhere. You guys will see us as often or maybe more often than before with this new change. We just believe this is really in the best interest of the project, which I believe everyone is aligned towards. So we can move on to the stables release.
Well, we got a question that's really related. So JPS says, will there be a new official release date for stables after beta testing?
Yes, that's a good idea. That's a good question. I'm saying we can commit to an official public release after testing is done. So I believe once the features that we have for the stables, we have this configurator that's not yet released that needs testing, where there is the fixes for the current issues, so those need testing. So we can definitely commit to an official date for the polished release. That's going to be after we resolve all issues. We're comfortable, we know that everything is fine, and then we consider it an event of a public release. So that's definitely doable, but we'll not commit these in advance. We'll commit these basically when we are ready. So when we are sure, confident, comfortable that we have things are resolved, I will not commit to saying, for example, now we're on what's the date today? I think on the 11th, or is it 12th? 9th. I'm far ahead. I'm not going to say the 15th of October is going to be the public release. We're going to go back to beta testing. We're going to fix out all the issues. When we're satisfied and comfortable that things are well, then we're going to say, well, the following date is going to be the public release. That's going to be the version that basically has everything working and tested live, and we're comfortable with it. And this is going to be basically something that's going forward will also match for the next releases. The social release is going to need a lot of testing. The racing and the breeding is going to need a whole lot of testing. We're going to ask everyone for help. It makes it more obvious to us. We had assumed that our own internal testing and the unit tests would cover the bases. We understand that the variety of circumstances of everyone who's trying with different setups really is absolutely essential. So even if the code makes sense, there are always surprises that can happen. So it's absolutely necessary that we have that added in.
We've got a question that's coming over and over again, but is the Equine team planning to have a native token?
Yeah, we can share that in our internal discussion. It's always made sense to have a token when it makes sense to have a token. We don't want to have a token for sake of just having a token. However, with that in mind, there is a place for a token in our game, and that is basically to reward activity in the platform. So anybody who has activities such as participating in races or in breeding, there is a point in giving back basically tokens to the players who are active. And then those tokens would become basically a utility token that can be spent to redeem, for example, items in the ecosystem. And this is something that other projects do as well. We do not want to really rush into a token concept or idea, but when we find a place that it really fits in, which is basically in the format right now of having racing activity, breeding activity. So somebody who races 5 times a day or 10 times a day with different horses would get points that they can use to spend in the ecosystem. Does make a lot of sense. It's not really just a token for sake of a token, but really has certain utility. So that is definitely something that has room in the ecosystem. We're not going to rush into announcing how it's going to fit, but we also obviously have time until this is really fleshed out. Issuing a token also has a lot of, let's say, legal implications where we need to do a lot of research, and we've already started that. We don't want to rush into, again, as you guys have been accustomed, into something that does not work well for everyone. So we work towards sustainability. But the short answer is yes, it's highly probable. We will announce when it's ready, but this is something being worked on. Okay. I think, Nick, maybe if you can. What's that?
Okay.
Can what's that? That's the intention, Nick. If you can elaborate on hardware wallet support, because we're getting the question because it doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it's not the ledger that's not working right now. It's the wallet connection is not working, but it's not because of ledger. Basically, right now we're supporting hardware wallets. We're going to fix the website so that it shows correctly, but hardware wallets are going to be supported in every step of the app, including the smart contracts interaction later for racing and breeding, marketplace transactions, and logging in, obviously. I actually put a lot of work into having that work, and it does work in the whole environment we're retesting for hardware wallets. So it's literally right now, it's a deployment issue where the front end and the back end are not talking correctly. It's nothing to do with ledger, why the hardware wallet connection is not working.
Yeah, and it's actually basically something we worked hard on and came up with a creative solution for a technical solution, because we wanted to move away from the current, let's say, standard of saying, well, accept that hardware wallets don't work for a DApp. We came up with this creative solution. Unfortunately, the deployment issues have kind of let's say, made it, spoiled the extra, let's say, mile we tried to reach. But obviously, when that's resolved, then we hope everyone will be able to enjoy that extra, let's say, functionality.
The other one is there any idea to lend?
Yeah, lending horses. We understand the interest in it. What's that? Yeah, in a future version, we have Mark next to us saying V2. Yeah, so it's a function that we realize is requested, especially by holders of many horses. We understand that somebody with 50 horses or 100 horses might have a hard time keeping up and racing them actively, etc. Obviously, activating horses is going to also be on a per horse basis. So if you think you can only keep up with 10, so you also have a choice of, for example, only activating 10 and working with those until you want to activate others, etc. But we understand that there's also an interest in it. Us building, for example, guilds as a social structure lends also to, sorry, excuse the pun, it's not intended, but lends to opportunities to, for example, lend horses or have renting horses or allowing them to make them available. Right now, obviously, we have a lot on our hands while we're building this whole platform from scratch. So we're building all of this. We don't want to take extra features immediately on top of the core, but it is definitely something that's in our mind. It has been requested multiple times, which brings it up in our priority, let's say, level. So it's something that's, let's say, anticipated. It's something that we'll commit to after we have more of the core platform built out.
And lending is a technical challenge in itself and would require a lot of new smart contracts dev, thinking about it, making it work correctly, ensuring nobody can keep your horse after you lend it. So there's a lot of little things we need to think about, and smart contracts dev. So right now I want our smart contracts dev to be focusing on racing and breeding and marketplace. Those are the core feature of this app. Once you get that, everybody can play. So that's like the minimum set of features we need to have a fun game. Lending would be like a cool extra feature. So it's definitely going to be after. But we got lists of things to do after. But that's one good one. We keep taking notes when you guys have features. We've got Fahad is dreaming up a lot of features also. And we're all kind of putting that into V2 and V3. So don't worry, we keep on focusing on V1, but this is not the end of our vision at all. It's just because we want to stay focused right now and keep the teams focused, but don't worry, other things are coming also. So
we might be out of... Yeah, we can, another, I guess, update on cNFTcon so far. Aside from the booth activities we've had and the excitement over here, we're met by many community members. Since we're in the town hall, maybe it's worth mentioning. We had Nerd Alert, we had Whimsy, and we had Silly Lizzie, right? And then we had basically a bunch of community members who all showed up. If I start naming names, I might miss out a few. So I don't mean to be let's say comprehensive. It might be a challenge, but it's really nice to see everyone show up here. We really appreciate everyone's support. We have also had a few discussions with people who are basically building exciting tools for equine. We have people who are working on other basically parts for the ecosystem. So it was very nice to see them in person. I kind of share also what we're working on. We also had the chance to talk with a lot of projects, and we have a few meetings lined up even after this town hall. While we've been kind of, let's say, what's a good word? Maybe not even careful, rather kind of holding off on collaboration discussions, except for a very selected few projects. cNFTcon was an excellent opportunity to meet everyone in person. So we've really taken that also forward. We've actively scheduled meetings basically with many projects that have mutual interests to kind of brainstorm and think of what really are opportunities for possible interoperability or collaborations or partnerships that make sense for both parties. We're going to hold off on any announcements because no deals have been made, as in no final deals, but we do have very substantial discussions and dialogues going on. They're not at the level of we exist and you exist, it's rather at the level of we can do this and you can do that. So it's only a matter of really aligning a little bit further. There's been a few Metaverse projects that are with us here at cNFTcon that we also discussed some exciting opportunities for where we could exist, for example, on and coexist really with those metaverses. There's been a few other projects that basically have an interest in having assets really integrated, for example, together, and to provide basically more utilities for both sides of projects. So we're actively also pursuing these. We believe this is a golden opportunity to reach out. We're lucky to know many of these big projects. We've had a great dialogue happening even before cNFTcon, but as you guys know, face-to-face meetings always get better results and outcomes. So can know about that. Marek, maybe you can share a little bit more about what we've done here.
You said everything already.
I tried to
Without
not say
telling
everything.
no, so maybe without telling the details, but like we had a very interesting meeting yesterday with one of the Metaverse projects, where the discussion was exactly about how we can integrate together to bring you more, right? So we are not, it's not about us refocusing on something else. It's not about them, recreating what we are already doing. It's about building together, right? Maybe building a spot where people can come and see the races, like a sport bar, like we have here in the hotel. And there are already other opportunities. They are very experienced. They are very excited to talk to us more regularly. So we'll definitely share more, as the time comes. But yeah, I'm actually very excited about this one, and we'll make sure that we follow very closely on this one.
Yeah, and the idea is also as different projects really evolve, the specialization comes, and this is part also of the dialogue where we say, at some point everyone was doing everything, and everyone wanted to do a profile picture and the game and the metaverse and the token and everything else. But now it's kind of becoming more clear that really everyone has a focus and everyone has something to build. So it really makes a lot of sense that we don't try to build a metaverse because we already have our hands full, obviously. But then also those metaverse groups or teams or projects might not need to make games, so that they can collaborate with a game, so that then the game exists in the metaverse, and then the metaverse also benefits from the game being there, and it's really a mutual, let's say, benefit. And the same works for all the other projects. Like profile pictures have their place, and art creations have their place, and it's just really everyone really realizing where they can fit into the ecosystem. It's an exciting space where everything is kind of still relatively new, and these kind of, let's say, structures are forming. But we're happy and excited to be here, and we're actively exploring all these opportunities.
Questions if there are any plans for the in real life racing communities and opportunities to outreach with the marketing, and the answer is no specific plans. Like we are not talking to one specific place right now, but it's definitely part of the plan. But we do realize to have a serious discussions with them, we need to have something much more ready, right? Like we need to have a working beta. We're definitely thinking about, even because as we said, we of course we love Cardano, we want to be here for Cardano community, but we also want to go broader. We want to go to people who love horses. So we want to advertise even at maybe horse races at some point, right? Not immediately, but at some point. And yeah, look for maybe sponsorships, do partnership with some specific race represented in the game eventually. So it is a big part of our plan, but it's one of those that we cannot yet, or we could try to execute now, but it wouldn't be as efficient and could potentially risk burning some bridges, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah, and I'll add to that we are actually privileged to already have, let's say, a good number of either horse owners, horse breeders, racing enthusiasts who have been doing this for decades, equestrians within our community who happen to be in the common, let's say, scope or envelope of being both Cardano users or NFT owners, and also being in this. And so that already sets us on a good, let's say, step forward. We're happy that we've been able to resonate with this crowd by bringing this product in the way that it is, and we hope to build on this. And obviously the extension of that is to go bigger and go to those networks and connections. There's a huge network effect that can be possible. We also don't want to start that until we're really in the best presentable form. So that's just to kind of reiterate what Marek was saying. So thank you for tuning in. We look forward to hearing or receiving your feedback. We'll be around in Discord to also follow up. Hope you understand we've been kind of busy with maybe that's an understatement, with both preparing for the release and the booth and the event here. Big shout out to all the team who's really showed up. Big shout out to Rachel, who's holding this camera right now to keep this stream ready, but she's also held the fortress with this booth. She's really taking good care of this whole venue activity. So that's great progress and achievement. A big shout out to Luke, our community manager, Troy, our community mod, for also showing up and volunteering to help with everything here in the booth and helping us with the live streams. Maybe we should move the camera.
Show yourself.
We have benefit of a camera. We have community members sitting around here. That's Luke waving. I can keep the commentary, and then we have. Are you okay with being live?
Holders and
Yeah?
Troy, and Rachel is behind the camera.
Yeah. So so we have Nerd Alert, and we have Lizzie, and we have Whimsy. So we have Jet,
Or
and we have
live.
listening live, tuning in. This is the community attending and showing up. So a big thanks to you guys for being here. We really appreciate it, and this means the world to us. Thank you for those who tuned in from there to kind of see the vibe that we have, and we look forward to being in, let's say, more updates and giving you more, sharing more of what we're working on.
Yeah, back to building in a few days.
Back to biddle during the bear market. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next town hall.